just a minute. My clock just hit 32 after the hour. So I am going to dive in, be respectful of everyone's time. Thank you everyone for coming today. My name is Ramy Rubin. I'm the marketing director for CauseMatch. I'm very excited to be presenting to you today on building a monthly giving program that works. Before we get into the meat of it all here, I have a couple of housekeeping items I wanted to go through with you today. Number one is the agenda today is pretty straightforward. I'm going to speak for about 25 or 30 minutes or so, and then we'll have about 15 or 20 minutes for question and answer. So that's going to be the agenda, pretty straightforward. We are recording this, so if you have to step out, if you miss something, if you would like to share it with colleagues, if you enjoy it so much the first time that you want to watch it again, we're going to make this recording available to you perhaps later today. More probably it'll be tomorrow, depending on our video editing and processing times for all of our tools here. So that's the recording. Please use the chat for Q&A. I'm not very good at multitasking, and one thing they don't tell you when you start giving these webinars is there's a lot of windows on my screen popping up. I have participants and the screen share and everything. So I've asked my colleague, Jeremy Stern, Director of Partnerships at CauseMatch, to keep an eye on the chat and moderate the Q&A portion of it at the end of this presentation. So Jeremy, thank you for stepping up and being a team player today. Jeremy happens to know a thing or two about fundraising and monthly giving as well, so he might jump in to answer a question if it suits him. So thank you again, Jeremy. Last bit of housekeeping is my email address is ramy@causematch.com. I mean this genuinely and sincerely when I say I like hearing from you. I want to hear your questions, comments, suggestions about these webinars in general, what you like, what we could be doing better, etc. And certainly the topic in specific. If you have questions that come up over the course of this presentation, please let me know. And I really do mean that genuinely. I'm going to throw that in over the course of this presentation. There are going to be opportunities where if things are coming up as you're trying to get a monthly giving program off the ground or accelerate it, and you come up with any of the obstacles, come up against any of the obstacles that we speak about here today, please let me know. I'm happy to help brainstorm, work through ideas, work through obstacles with you so that you can advance your efforts here. I will put my email up at the end of this presentation as well, but it's ramy@causematch.com. A word about CauseMatch. CauseMatch is the most powerful crowdfunding platform on the market. And what differentiates us from the competitors in the field are really these three things that you see on screen: our technology, our strategy, and our rapid response support. Just want to give you a small window into each of these pillars. In terms of our technology, we're doing things like donor optimization, making sure that it's super, super easy and more people are donating to your campaign once they land on your page. We're doing amazing things on the back end with ambassador management that make it easy to manage dozens or even hundreds of ambassadors. All little tech things that when you stack them on top of each other, make your campaign much more successful than they otherwise would be. In terms of the strategy, we don't just want to give you the technology and send you on your merry way. We really feel like we're in it with you. So we have coaches, we have playbooks, we're doing webinars like this that we can impart our learnings onto you so that you are as equipped as you can be to go and fundraise for your amazing organizations. And lastly, in terms of rapid response support, things happen, especially when you're looking at a 24, 36, 48-hour campaign. Things happen. We've had cases where someone adds an extra zero to their donation by accident. And for that specific donor, when you give 10 times as much as you were planning on giving, that is a big deal. So you need to be able to respond quickly. And our technical customer support team is there each step of the way. So when you come across these types of things that come up, they're ready if you need help to figure it out on the back end. It's one thing that we see in our customer surveys over and over again that people love is our customer support team. So I will make good on my offer to answer any questions right here. If you have questions about our products or services, please email me, ramy@causematch.com. I might not be the best person to answer your question, depending on what it is, but I will absolutely usher you to the person who is if I cannot answer it. So that is the first time I will make that offer. I think I'll be making it again later on in this presentation as well. Okay, as we begin to talk about the subject at hand, if you wouldn't mind opening up your chats and just letting me know who's here today, what organizations you serve in the impact area, if it's not obvious from your name. That will help me sort of see who's here today and perhaps tailor some of the examples I give throughout this presentation to the folks that are here. So if you wouldn't mind doing that. Amazing. It's always so nice to see so many names, both familiar names. It's always nice to see new names that I have not met you. It's really nice to meet you virtually. Thank you for being again here on this webinar today. Awesome. Keep it coming. Adam Hertzman, a last from the past. Okay. Let's talk about monthly giving. Before we get into it, I want to define terms here. I want to clarify what we're talking about. Monthly giving is a program that allows people to give monthly. It's an automatic payment from their payment method of choice, whether that's credit card, donor advised fund, something in their virtual wallet like Google Pay or Apple Pay. The important thing is that once they set this up, it runs automatically. They have to make that decision once to give, and then it runs automatically. That is the most important detail. There's no shortage of ways that someone can give. That's a big thing. We'll talk about that. There's a bunch of different methods that they can give through. But once they set it up, it runs automatically. And what I want to do now is make the case for why I've really fallen in love with monthly giving. I'm going to throw 3 data points at you right now that tell you why I love it so much. The first one is all 3 of these are actually from a study that was done by M&R. They do fantastic research on online giving, and they recently released a report on giving from 2024. And the first data point is what they found in 2024 was that online giving was flat from 2023. No more money was given in 2024 than 2023 on online gifts that were one-time giving. This is actually a trend that's been the case for the last couple of years. It's gone up 1% or down 1% over the last couple of years from year to year, but for the most part, one-time online giving has been flat. While it has been flat, M&R reported that monthly giving has grown by 5% from 23 to 24. And once again, this has been a trend from 22 to 23, 21 to 22. Monthly giving continues to grow while the rest of online giving stays flat. Whenever that happens, whenever you have a pattern and there's an outlier, but a consistent outlier year after year, I think that sort of demands our attention for us to put it under the spotlight and look at it a little bit. The data point that really caught me the most is that of all online gifts in 2024, 31% of them were monthly gifts. 31% of online donations were monthly gifts, which just speaks to the point that this is working and organizations are doing it. And if you are not doing it, then to a certain extent, you are missing the boat on it. Now, while I throw all of these data points at you, none of them are actually the real reason why I love monthly giving. The real reason why I love monthly giving is because of its reliability. Your monthly donors are going to give consistently. There is going to be predictability to your revenue stream that in a sector that is largely unpredictable. And if you are not sure about how big of a deal this is, then I would encourage you to turn to your finance departments and ask them if they would like some predictability from month-to-month basis on how much money is coming into your bank account. I can all but guarantee they will be doing backflips if you tell them that you can offer some reliability to this. Monthly givers give consistently. They give during crisis, they give during global pandemics, they give during war, they give. So that is the reason why I love monthly giving. I'll throw in one extra small little data point here. I saw another study done by Neon One that said that monthly givers give on average for 8 years. So not only are monthly donors giving more, but they're giving longer over time. That is a tremendous antidote to the problem of donor retention. When we have those leaky buckets and we have to go and ask donors every single year for money, monthly giving is the solution to that problem, that if we just make that ask the right way the first time, we can set them up to give for a very long time. So that is really the case that I'd like to make for monthly giving. Now, monthly giving, instituting a monthly giving program is not easy. I think the benefits are quite huge, but I don't want to position this as something that is easy to set up. In fact, it is not. And I want to structure the conversation in such a way where I want to talk about a couple of mindset shifts that I think your organizations need to go through in order to institute this properly. And then we'll spend the remaining time with a 5-step playbook that we've put together that shows you how to institute the monthly giving program. And I think to structure this next part of the conversation, I want to ask a question, which is, are we asking in a recurring first way, or are we treating monthly giving as just a nice to have? And every time that we're at a crossroads, if we can answer this question, and the answer to that question is going to be, we're asking in a recurring first way, we're going to set this up for positive success. If we just treat it as a nice to have, then donors are going to as well, and they're going to sort of put it on the side. So that's sort of the question that I want to put out there in terms of framing this conversation. In terms of the mindset shifts, I put together a couple here that I just want you to think about as we talk about instituting a monthly giving program. The first is that monthly giving is just as much about building deeper relationships with your donors as it is about the money that comes in. I think this is certainly true of fundraising in general, but it's especially true about monthly giving because monthly givers are those people that are going to be raising their hands and volunteering the fact that they love your cause and your mission. These are your close supporters right here. So these are the people that are raising their hand and saying, form a deeper relationship with me. Monthly giving is all about building deeper relationships with your donors. If we treat it like an afterthought, donors are going to as well. A great place to sort of test to see if you're treating this like an afterthought or not is on your donation page. Most donation pages nowadays will have 2 boxes right under the amount, and it's going to say one-time gift or monthly giving. The question to ask yourself is, which is the default button that people are you're highlighting for people? If it's a one-time gift, then that is asking in a one-time gift first way. That is highlighting one-time gifts. If you have monthly giving as the pre-selected option, then you're asking in a recurring first way. Now that alone won't solve your monthly giving problem. That is just one piece of the puzzle, but it's a good indication about whether or not we're treating it like an afterthought or whether we're putting it in prime focus. The next mindset shift is to get your leadership bought in. As I said, this is going to be difficult. This is a heavy lift. There are going to be there's going to be a lot of time and energy and resources poured in to building a monthly giving program. And it is going to be much easier if your leadership is bought in, whether that's your development director, CEO, your board president. Get them bought in now, and it's going to make your life much easier as you put this all together. The last thing that I'll say in terms of the mindset, and then we'll get to the 5-step playbook, is that monthly donors give more over time, they stay longer, and they do more. What do I mean by do more? I mean they are more likely to volunteer for your organization. They are more likely to refer another person to donate to your organization. And they are more likely to leave a legacy gift to your organization. These donors are your prime target of people that you want to be invested into your organization. And that is the motivation for building a monthly giving program. So with all of that said, we can dive into the 5 steps to building a monthly giving program. The first one is to build a brand and identity, to create a brand and identity. This starts with giving it a name and a purpose. I would encourage you to go beyond alliteration. I love alliteration. I really do. It's catchy. It's memorable. It's going to get it to stick. But I want it to go beyond alliteration. I want this to put real thought into a name and a purpose. I was thinking about this. Let me see if I can find something here. My office is often used as like a toy storage facility for my kids. So let me see if I can find something. Okay. We have this test truck. I know I have a virtual background, so it's hard to see, but can we get it? There we go. Okay, there's this test truck. So much time and energy went into designing this test truck. It is like unbelievable how well built it is and how like real to life it is, even though it's a miniature. And I was thinking about building a monthly giving program in a lot of ways is like building a product, or if we want a better example, think of like Nike shoes. Think of how much time and effort and energy went into marketing a pair of Nike shoes. Let's put that time and energy into building our monthly giving program as well, because what we're going to be doing is inviting people into this sort of exclusive club of monthly givers, and we have to make it attractive for them. And in that way, we want to build a story around it. We want to know who is it for and what is it going to build. So who is it for? Is it for alumni? Is it participants of your program? Is it for parents of alumni, if you're a school, or grandparents? Who is this for and what are we building around it? But I think it's worth at these foundational stages to really put a lot of time and effort into thinking about what the story of your monthly giving program is going to be. And I think it's also really important at this stage to think about what donors will receive. Because again, they're joining this exclusive club. So what they can receive can sort of compartmentalize it into two categories. You can think of like the tangible things that they might get. That might be something that your organization produces, whether it's a journal or a book or something like that, or swag. You get an awesome hoodie from your organization. If they can get that sort of tangible thing from you when they sign up to be a monthly giver. And then there's those relational things that they can get as well. That could be behind the scenes access to a program that you put on. It could be 20 minutes or 30 minutes with the CEO in a private meeting. I've seen, I work with one organization that has an annual event every year for their entire community. And right before the event, 30 minutes or an hour before the event, they invite their major donors and their monthly givers to a pre-event event where everyone raises a glass, says cheers, and then they all walk into the annual event together. But all of these are sort of ideas that you can think about now in terms of what donors are going to receive when they join this exclusive club of your monthly givers. That's step one, to give it a brand and an identity. Step two is to make it easy. This is really largely about the technology because the tech has to be frictionless. There are a million reasons not to give, right? Giving in the first place is something a little counterintuitive, right? We're giving away our hard-earned money and essentially getting nothing in return. So when we make it hard for people, they don't give. We want this to be as seamless as possible. The tech has to be smooth. And at the same time, we have to be fully integrated. So I was thinking about payment processors again with this. More and more people are giving through their donor advised funds, or they don't use their credit card as much. They're using PayPal or Google Pay or Apple Pay. We want all of those different payment options to be available because, again, if we create an obstacle for someone, if we make it difficult for them to give, they're going to find a reason not to. And that integration continues. We want our receipts to reflect that they're monthly givers. We want our CRM to be able to segment all of our monthly givers so we can speak to them in one shot. We want our emails to notify them that they're monthly givers. There has to be this sort of ecosystem, this technological ecosystem that has to be integrated with your monthly giving program in order to run this smoothly. The third thing I would say about making it easy is for most organizations, you're going to want to appoint an owner to this project. There are a lot of details. You might need to create a new field in your CRM. You might need to update your receipts. There's going to be lots of little details throughout this project, throughout this program, and someone needs to own it. Now, obviously, that does not mean that that person needs to do all of the work. In the case of the CRM, your database manager is likely going to be the one doing the work. But having an owner of these types of large projects is going to make sure that someone is accountable for all of those little details and making sure that they get done. That is step number 2. Once we have those things set up, it's time to call in the believers. Your first monthly donors are not going to be random people. These are your super fans. These are the people whose values, beliefs, and identity, they line up with your mission. They're not just giving because it's a nice thing to do. They're giving because they truly believe in what you stand for. So a great place to start is your board. I'm a very firm believer that your board should be donating to your organization. I know it's a little bit of a controversial subject, though I'm not sure why, but I believe that your board should be donating to your organizations by and large. And if you institute a monthly giving program and make it a focal point of your fundraising strategy, then I would go further to say that your board should be monthly donors to your organization so that they can lead by example. The second thing is to make them feel seen and special. Even if if you're asking for a $10 a month donor, call them. It's probably not someone you would normally call who's giving at that level, but call them. You want to invite them into this exclusive club. So you want to treat them like you would a major donor. You certainly don't want to make it sound like it's going to be a mass email blast. You're going to need to do a lot of these asks individually at first, especially as you're getting started here. And I would encourage you to frame it as an invitation. I thought of you because you've always shown up for us. We're starting this program with a small circle of our most committed supporters, and we know that you're one of them. And that in and of itself will make the ask feel like it's a privilege, like they are being invited to this exclusive club. The third aspect of calling in the believers is to know your donors, know thine donor, know what they care about, know what they've responded to in the past, capture that info as it's coming in, use it to your advantage, because your first monthly donors aren't necessarily going to be your wealthiest donors. We're really looking at small and medium mid-tier donors for this, but they are your truest believers. So you're going to want to know who's opening your every email, who's sharing your posts, who's showing up to every event. Those people are generally speaking, your believers. They've already been saying yes with their actions. Now you're showing them that the next step is for them to become monthly donors. Once you have that first group, once you've called in the believers, it's time to ask boldly and repeatedly. Do not be shy. Monthly giving does not happen passively. You can't just tuck it into a corner on a form and hope people click it. You have to go up to the mountaintops and scream it. Make sure people know that this is what you're asking for. If you whisper it, they will not hear it. So don't be shy. Repetition matters. So we've seen a lot of several CauseMatch campaigns that focus on monthly giving. There's specific campaigns for monthly giving, and I love those. I love campaigns that focus on monthly giving. And that can be the cornerstone of your broader appeal, but we have to ask over and over and over again. You should be asking at all of your events. It should be in your newsletter. Anytime you are making an ask, it should be a recurring first ask, right? To come back to that question that framed this conversation, we need to always be asking in a recurring first way. So I would think of it less like a one campaign and more like a drumbeat that sort of normalizes the whole fundraising strategy. This is the focal point of your year-round strategy to bring in monthly donors. And the third piece is to frame it for people as that they are everyday philanthropists. I found that we normally reserve that word philanthropist for the ultra wealthy for your major donors, but philanthropy just means a love of your cause. That's really what it means. So a $10 a month donor deserves that title too. And you can tell them when you give monthly, you're sustaining this mission. You're not just giving once and walking away. You're stepping into the role of being a philanthropist every single month. And that elevates their identity as a donor. We want people to feel like everyday philanthropists. It turns a $10 a month gift from being just a transaction into a badge of pride. And that is exceedingly powerful when building a monthly giving program. The last step of this 5-step playbook is my favorite one. I think most people who know me would probably guess that this is my favorite one because I love donor retention and I love making donors feel awesome about their gifts. So the way that we're going to do that is we're going to treat them differently. We are going to segment them. We're going to call them out as our true supporters. We are going to tell them over and over and over again that they have joined this exclusive club. We can't treat them like all the other donors. We have to segment them and treat them differently than our other donors. The other thing that we're going to do is we're going to thank them all year round. So I was thinking about this specific point, and I recently had an interaction with my sister that really brought this to light. So quick anecdote, if you'll indulge me for a second. Quick story. My son was bar mitzvahed last year, and the thing that he wanted really badly, when people asked him, what do you want for your bar mitzvah? He answered he wanted a subscription to HackPack. For those of you who don't know, and I did not know, HackPack is a monthly subscription for like an engineering kit. There's this guy, Mark Rober. He's awesome. He created this monthly subscription for an engineering kit, and my son really wanted it. The problem is that it was like pretty expensive. I don't remember what it was, $500, $600 for a year subscription. Lucky for my son, he has some very kind and nice uncles and aunts, my sister included, who pulled money together and got him a subscription to HackPack. Now, every month, my son gets this box in the mail. and he rips it open. The first one was just to tell you how cool it is. It was a motion detector Nerf gun, so that when you like cross the threshold, the Nerf gun pops off and it fires. The second one was like this little truck that laid dominoes, and you could program it for what shape you wanted the dominoes in. Super, super cool. My son spends hours on this stuff. He loves it. He's totally into it. And every single month when he gets this backpack, once he's finished with it, he takes a video of himself using it, and he sends it to his uncles and aunts that purchased the backpack for him. And I was talking to my sister the other day, and my sister was just telling me, she like put it in such awesome terms where she was like, my son's bar mitzvah was in December of last year. It was what are we in September now? 8 months ago, 9 months ago. She's pretty much forgotten every month that she's done this nice thing for my son. But every month she gets to be reminded of her generosity. She gets to see how happy he is all over again every month when he sends her this video that says, Aunt Nene, look what I just built, and it gets to show it off. And I was thinking about that in terms of donors and thanking them, and how it's pretty much the same thing all the time. But I think it's especially true around monthly giving, because Jeremy, you're going to appreciate this, but the feeling of loss, the cost of giving, happens at the point of transaction, right? So when someone sets up their monthly giving program, that's the moment where they're feeling like they have parted with their money. Most of the time, people set it and forget it, and they don't remember. But you have the opportunity every month to do what my son did and send them a video or some message that said, you did something awesome without lifting a finger. And that is a tremendous, tremendous opportunity that we as fundraisers have to make donors feel awesome about their gift months after they've given, a month after they've experienced that departure of their money. So I thank them all year round, not just at the point that they've donated. Thank you for indulging me in that story. The last thing I will say about donor retention and showing gratitude is, don't let them go silent. If they aren't responding to emails, pick up a phone and call them, or send them a WhatsApp. Make sure that you're in contact with them, because to come back to one of the earlier points, these are the people that want relationships with you. They are raising their hand and saying, we want to be in this with you. So I've seen one really nice example of this. I work with an organization that sends out a welcome series to all of their monthly donors. So the first email is, a general thank you. The second one is an introduction to their mission and their staff. The third one has an impact story. The fourth one has expectations for the year with a calendar of some of the big events over the course of the year. And the fifth one is an invitation with like a calendar link to spend 20 minutes with their CEO. And I thought that was very creative, but the especially creative thing that this organization has decided to do is, when someone doesn't schedule with the CEO, they call them. They call the person and follow up with them and say, I just want to make sure you know that this offer is there. Most people don't take it, by the way. I asked them, most people don't take up the offer. They don't need it. They're not looking for that sort of relationship, but offering that in a sincere way and following up with them and not letting them go radio silent shows the dedication of the organization to the donor and shows them how appreciated their gift is. So those are the ways to do retention and gratitude. I want to just summarize. I know I threw a lot of information at you in the last couple of minutes here. So here are the 5 steps again. We're going to create a brand and identity. We're going to market this in a really good way. We're going to make it easy for them. The tech is going to be seamless so that it's easy for them to donate in the ways that they want to donate. We're going to call in the believers. You can even start with your board, the people that really, truly, deeply care about your mission and your cause. We're going to ask boldly and repeatedly throughout the year, not just at major events, but at all times. We're going to make it recurring first throughout the entire year. And we're going to retain with joy and gratitude. I just want to leave you, before I open it up with questions, to stress, I hope this is clear, but just in case it's not, that monthly giving is not just a tactic. This is not something that we can just pull out every once in a while and hope for an influx in donations. It really is a shift in culture. But what I've seen is that it becomes the norm when we ask the right way and when we celebrate it the right way. Just want to leave you with that. We are right at the hour now. So I want to open it up. We can have about 15 minutes of questions. And if we don't get to something, I told you I'd put my email address up on the screen again, making good on that. If we don't get to any of your questions, please let me know, and I'm happy to answer after the webinar. Questions, comments?
Remy,
Jeremy.
why don't we wait for people to put questions in the chat? I was thinking of a question, which I think might be a challenging one. So let me know what you think. In our campaigns, a $150 donation is nice, right? It's not, above the norm. That's a pretty typical donation. And so if I understand you correctly, you're saying that we should provide more focus and more love for our donors giving us $10 a month, $120 a year, and I only get that 120 after 12 months, more than the $150 donor who gave me once in the campaign, and hopefully I'll be able to cultivate them again for next year.
It's an excellent question. So I have two things to say. One is one-time giving is often impulsive. It's often a spur of the moment emotional decision that we're making, certainly in CauseMatch campaign's case, because someone asked us to. I feel like a monthly gift is a more firm stake in the ground that this person wants to deeply be a part of the organization. And so, yes, I would say it's more likely to invest in a relationship with a monthly donor than is to a one-time giver. But I would say, I don't think it's an either or situation. I have found that one of the best times to ask for a monthly gift is after someone gives a one-time gift. So if you spend 30, 60 days after that one-time gift, and you take the time in those 30 or 60 days to thank donors properly and tell them about the impact of their gift, it is a perfect time to ask them for an increased gift of another $10 a month or something for sustaining the organization. I know it sounds a little counterintuitive to ask people so quickly for a second gift after they've given the first time, but all of the data suggests that is actually the best time to ask, is as quickly as possible after they give that first gift.
Awesome, thank you. We have a few questions in the queue already.
Okay.
Mordecai Kaplan asks, how does an organization figure out a good amount for the monthly donation? Can there be a range or better one set amount? Essentially, what's a good amount for the monthly donation to ask for?
Gift strings are always really, really tricky, really tricky. So in a best case scenario, you'll be asking people in a one-on-one situation where you have some sense of their capacity or what their past gifts have been. I know that we're not always working in best case scenarios. So sometimes we have to guess. Sometimes we have to take our best educated guess and put a number out there. What I will say is that when monthly donors are thanked properly, you can ask them for an increase also. You can do it after 12 months. You can celebrate a milestone with them and say, you've not only joined the monthly giving club, but you've joined the year anniversary of being part of the monthly giving club. Can we increase your gift now to that next stage? So while there obviously is a certain amount of risk at lowballing what that amount is going to be, we're always going to be able to rectify it by asking for that increase over time.
Okay, and should it be one donation amount that we're asking for from our community, or give them a few options?
So I think it depends on the nature of the ask, right? If you're asking one-on-one, then one number tends to be better. If you're putting it on a donation form, then gift strings can be great. And there's a lot of donor psychology and tech that goes into that too, not just choosing the numbers, but which one is the default option. If you have a low, medium, and high, let's highlight the medium one, and I think more people will gravitate toward there. So there's lots of sort of behavioral psychology that comes into play here. It's a little bit tricky to answer because I think there's a lot of dependencies on how we're going to approach that.
Okay, thank you. Next question from Miriam Ubsitsky, CauseMatch partner coach. Mimi asks, is there a strategy to encouraging these monthly givers to increase their monthly donations? And if so, when and how is best to do that?
Asking for an increase is always tricky because we want to make sure that donors feel properly appreciated before we ask for the increase. For monthly giving, I think celebrating milestones is a really natural opportunity to do it. It doesn't have to be after a year. It could be after 6 months. The nice thing about monthly giving is it doesn't preclude you from asking for a one-time gift also. So if you are running a special program, I don't know, but certainly a capital campaign, but even if you're trying to raise money for something that's a little bit more program specific as opposed to general operating support, I think it's fair to go to them and say, absolutely acknowledge their generosity and that they're part of this exclusive club, and tell them that they have an opportunity to do something else for an organization that they truly care about. As long as we're positioning this as an opportunity for the donor to fulfill that donor's philanthropic goals, wishes, then I think we're going to be okay. Has to be done with respect, as all fundraising has to be done, but I think there's a way to do it.
Okay, thank you. Next question is from Rabbi Chazanov, Chabad of Western Monmouth County. He asked about your point that you mentioned of giving extra thank yous to the monthly donors every month, and it's an opportunity to do so every month. Shouldn't we be doing that with all of our donors? Why do you mention specifically the monthly donors that we should be doing that for?
Yes, we should absolutely be doing that for all of our donors. But just, I guess my point is in the same way that I feel like it's a little bit more intuitive to understand that we cannot thank all of our donors in the way that we thank our major donors, right? We can't put a plaque in our building for all of our donors, even though in a perfect world that would be amazing, but we create some sort of hierarchy because we all have limited resources that we're able to deal with. And I guess my point there is, even though the dollar amounts for a monthly giver might not put that person in a tier that would otherwise get them special attention, the very fact that it's a monthly gift should warrant that special attention. So whatever we can do to make them feel special, we should, because again, that monthly gift is much less impulsive. It's much more strategic. It's much more a reflection of a person's identity than a one-time gift is. And I think that's really the most important point, and why it comes back to relationship building, because these are the people that are raising their hand and saying, I didn't just give because my neighbor asked me to. I gave because I truly care about the work that you're doing and the cause that you're supporting.
Okay, thank you. Next question is from Chavi Dick, Biker Cholim of Queens. You mentioned before that you feel that board members should all be donating to the organization. Board members are sometimes, often, hopefully it's more often than sometimes, working hard. How do you ask board members for money when they're giving so much to the organization otherwise? What do you suggest?
Okay, so Javi, that is another excellent question, and it's something I've put a lot of thought into. I do feel like it's a little bit outside the scope of this particular conversation. So what I would ask of you is to email me and ask me that question, and I am happy to talk about it. If there's general interest, it's something that I certainly would even do a future presentation on if that is something that people would be interested in. It's a really, really good question. I think I would have to want to frame my answer the right way. So I'm happy to continue that after this presentation.
Okay, and the last question we have here, unless anyone else puts it in the chat, is from Robert Early from Beit Binyamin. If we're emailing our donors, asking them to sign up as a monthly donor, do we tailor the different amounts based upon how much they gave? So for example, if someone donated one time $20, do we ask for a different monthly gift than someone who donated $720?
Yes, absolutely. We are going to treat those two donors differently, and we're going to ask them for different amounts. How to do that? If your CRM allows for a more sophisticated mail merge, then that would be ideal. I don't think that you necessarily have to put an amount in the ask when we're sending a mass mail that's going to go to people that have given $20 and gone to people that give $1,000. I think we're sort of able to just make a general ask, and then when they get to the landing page, there will be those strings. And then, of course, there's the other button. So those strings are important. I don't want to minimize their importance, but if we have a low, medium, and high there, more likely than not, they will select one of them. And if one of those feels outside their range as well, then they're going to fill in the other category. So I feel like that's the best bet if you're dealing with a very broad range of donors.
Okay, cool. The next question, actually, I'm going to answer this one. So Adam Hersman from Adortova Consulting asks, what's the best way to see the technology platform behind CauseMatch and how it works for your organization? If you're a consultant, then I'd love to meet with you. If it's coming from an organization, then we can set you up with one of our account executives to demo the platform. But consultants are, I'd love to meet with you and show you what we have to offer. So let's do that. Yoshua Singer asks, do you differentiate in any way from monthly donors who choose to actually write a check rather than automating it, as far as recognition or response? Meaning if a monthly donor wants to write a monthly check, is that different than if they're running their credit card and setting up that automatic charge?
That's a really good question. I would not treat them any differently from the standpoint of recognition, from the standpoint of gratitude and the communications. I would put them in our exclusive club. I think internally, I would know that check writer is less likely to be a long-term giver on average than someone that's happening automatically. It's the automatic payment that allows for this program to work so well. We really don't want people having to take an action for their money to come to your organization, and that check writing is an action. So even if it's someone that's been giving for a long time, I want to make sure that we give that person the respect and gratitude that they deserve. It's just much easier for that person to skip a month, decide not to, whatever. There's a million reasons why that check might not come next month. So it's a little bit less reliable, I would say, than the ones that are set up through the actual automated payment system.
Okay, cool. A bunch more questions that are coming in, and we are going to try to wrap it up in the next few minutes. Another from Rabbi Khazanov, which is they've found that some people forget they pledge monthly, and when they get the monthly receipts, they call to discontinue. Meaning that they forgot that they had set it up specifically to spread it out over several months. Any advice on that?
I would like to think about that one, because there's probably creative ways to overcome that obstacle. But the first thing that comes to my mind is just make sure you remind them when that receipt comes in. Make it abundantly clear. You can have the exact dates that they set this up. You can as many specific details that you can include in that piece of communication to jog their memory and make it real for them, all the better. I can understand that if they set this up and they just suddenly see it come off of their credit card bill, or they just get a receipt from you out of nowhere, they might not remember that they have put this into place, which I think just also speaks to how short our memories are when it comes to these rather impulsive decisions that we make for giving. But I think we really have to spell it out. But that's a very, very good question that I think deserves a little bit more thought as well.
Meaning, if a donor signs up for a $600 donation, but spread it over 12 months, so it's $50 a month, you should say in the second month, third month, this is your second donation of 12 towards your $600 commitment this year. Really spell it out for them.
Exactly.
That's a great idea. Another question from Robert Early, which is, should we ask our CauseMatch ambassadors to help solicit monthly gifts, or we don't want to overload them and only use them for the annual campaign?
That is also a little bit case dependent. I think you are right to be worried about overloading your ambassadors with work. And I think you are also asking the right question, because your ambassadors are such a great source of potential donations. So I think, once again, I'm punting on this one a little bit, but I really think it's a little bit case dependent. And I think if it's done in the right way and you don't get the sense that there is ambassador fatigue happening within your organization, that can be a really wonderful idea. And I think there's creative ways to do it. Just as I think through this, one of the things that I really like when organizations do is when they use their ambassadors to thank their donors over the course of the year. That's something that I've seen work really well. So you're not just giving them communication to ask people for money, but 3 months, 6 months after the campaign, you're giving them the tools to say, here's an update that we just sent out. Make sure that your donors receive it. So I think if you are equipping your ambassadors with the right tools, then at some point over the course of the year, they can say something to the extent of, I've seen up close, I've seen them do such amazing work as an ambassador on the inside of the organization. And you've been so generous in giving to our last CauseMatch campaign. Would you consider giving a monthly gift? Like, I think there are ways to do this respectfully that makes it easier for the ambassador to say yes, and it makes it easy for the donor to say yes as well. That appreciates their past gift and positions them for future giving as well. But Rob, I'm happy to brainstorm with you as well on that one after the webinar.
Awesome. We have 3 more questions, which I think we should cap it at this. Let's see if we could do these as a rapid fire.
Oof,
Okay.
oof.
So Hannah Heller from HLA. What about asking for a perpetual recurring gift versus for a year? Meaning, should you ask for an open-ended $50 a month, or specifically for the next 12 months, will you give $50 in total, $600 this year?
Ongoing. Make it sustainable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Miriam Ovsitsky, another question. What type of staff infrastructure or roles are needed to keep this monthly giving sustainable?
Depends how good your tech and CRM is, which I think points to the fact that you have to have good infrastructure in place. But I think that if your integrations are good, then a lot of this should be front loaded, and a lot of the work can be put up front, right? Once you have a welcome email series set up, it just runs. I don't want to minimize how much work there is to set that up. That takes time and energy and thinking through and a workflow and putting that all into the system. But once you get to that point, it just runs. So I think a lot of the work for monthly giving programs in terms of the maintenance of it is, I don't know if I said that the exact right way, but is on the front end. And then once it's set up, then it becomes the fundraiser's job or the development team's job to make sure that donors are being thanked accordingly. But a lot of that system can be set up in front. This is very hard for me to answer rapid fire. I'm a rambler, as you can see. I'm not doing a good job of rapid fire at all.
Well, we'll do one last question from Mendy, which is, when do you ask for recurring donations? Meaning, do you do so as a standalone solicitation, or do you do it in the context of special campaigns like a crowdfunding campaign, a match campaign, that type of thing?
I would take whatever you are doing now and just, instead of asking for a one-time gift, make it a monthly gift. It should just be the way that we're asking to join this monthly giving program. I really do believe that if we ask in a recurring first way, people will give in a recurring first way. And if we don't, then they won't. I don't want to say it's just that simple, because as you see, there's a lot of work that goes into building these monthly giving programs, but the philosophy of it is pretty much that simple, that we're going to get what we ask for. So if we ask in a recurring